protection so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond Gusset jeans got it. Others don't.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones. I'm looking for people that have the wisdom to spot savings, opportunity, and recognize risk. Saving means to make money. The Cal-Ben Pure Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated and twice as good as what you're using now. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils that contain no useless dyes, perfumes, deodorants, or antibacterials. Your risk is the hundreds of hazardous toxic detergents that give you rashes, itching sores, and deteriorating clothing called lint. If you want something better, if you want something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before. Getting a free catalog is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value. I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Jesse Ventura's got breaking news coming up. He was booked on TV shows all over the U.S., basically, and they all suddenly canceled. When he goes on other radio shows, the host, syndicated and others, the hosts make fun of him and say, you're like Kim Kardashian. I guess that's that bombshell brunette. I know enough to know that. Like he's trying to get publicity. I have witnessed Ventura in a controlled rage over this. I have been in a controlled rage. I am sick of it. And when Miss USA cried about the Dallas airport literally going in her panties and touching her genitals, and she cried, they said, oh, she just wants attention. Oh, I guess when you run into highway checkpoints now, they want to search your car. You shouldn't get upset. You shouldn't get upset about federally funded blood draws all over the country, or Homeland Security announcing they want to start setting up forced quarantines and roundups. You shouldn't get upset about taxes so high it's bankrupting many people, or NAFTA and GATT deindustrializing the country. No, it's weird to be involved. It's weird to be upset. And they almost ended Ventura's show because of the budget issues of him saying he wouldn't fly, and they couldn't afford to have private jets, so he drives around in his own personal RV all over the country. And I mean, I just, being behind the scenes and watching them, how they turn this around and how they operate, and how these whore talk show hosts think it's cute to see total classical police state in our face and make excuses for it. I mean, I got an article up at Infowars.com, headline, DHS official, you never know when streetlights are listening to you. And they're making announcements. Yes, no one knows when we're surveilling them. I mean, directly out of 1984, federal streetlights listening to us without warrants? I mean, it's beyond 1984. And what's happened is a lot of these yuppies and sellouts and people who bought into the system, they will make whatever excuses they need. Once you buy into corruption, once you buy into Big Brother, you can't admit as it gets worse and worse that you were wrong. No, that's not what these cowards do. Instead, they just sit there and make excuses for no matter what happens. And that's the thing about tyranny. In every society, if you study the sociology, the psychology, the certain groups that go along with the system will then put up with anything. Whether it was crazy Roman emperors or the Aztecs, it doesn't matter. And there's always a ruling class that is about the exercise of power. People build up the Japanese, and certainly it was a genteel culture compared to many, and admirable in many ways. I'm not putting down the culture, but it's on record, you can pull this up, that the Japanese samurai would routinely test a new blade on a villager. And these are groveling, stooping slaves who bowing, doing whatever they're told, working long hours, 12 hours or more, out in the rice paddies. And they would just, to maintain discipline and exercise power, they would go out and find somebody that looked at them wrong and chop them up with a new blade. You can look that up. Type in samurai had right to kill for no reason. It'll come up. And every culture did that. You there, knave, in ancient France, going back 1,000 years ago. You there, you looked at me wrong. Tie him up. One of the favorite ways was just to tie him up against a tree and just slit the throat. It's about the exercise of power. Of all the cultures, it was the Anglo-Saxon culture that developed the Magna Carta, that took the common law to the next level, that chopped the heads off of kings and demanded basic liberties, that grew, wasn't perfect, the system always attacks it, but it grew like an acorn into what we have today. The first society where commoners could own private property. In no other culture could you, a non-royal, and all of their sublords and legates, you could not own private property. And the elites latched on over 100 years ago to eugenics because they already believed they were a different species in the general public. That's why they called the poor people in every culture the little people, because under feudalism practiced in every culture, the elites sit back in giant armored palaces with a royal guard, and the slaves are kept out there on purpose, and their food is confiscated to a point of where they're almost starving to death. You know, I've had Marines and others describe fighting Iraqis, and after 15 years of sanctions, no medicine, no nothing, they said that they had no energy. Most of the country isn't even getting enough food. And so multiple Marines have described how you're fighting an American, black, white, whatever, they've got muscles on them. They're well fed. These are people malnourished, millions of which starved to death over that 15 years. They estimate they went from 25 million to about 21 million total. War, famine, you name it. And you can just shove the Iraqis aside because they've been starved to death. One good line they have in Silence of the Lambs, I don't recommend if it's a family movie, but where the evil psycho killer who's a genius is talking to the FBI serial killer expert, and he says, "Oh, I see you, Clarice. I see your cheekbones. I see your bones. I see, where'd you come from? Sharecroppers? Is this your background?" And she starts crying because he knows who she is by looking at her body. And see, that's the elite just kind of throwing in your face how they operate, what they do. As they ride by on big war horses and everybody's like starving to death, burying their kid. And if they caught you taking one rabbit in ancient England, even though your family's starving to death in the winter, one rabbit, you're kept on this tiny tract of land, and you're in there freezing all winter, and you get a rabbit to feed it to your children, and the lords bust in. The sheriff busts in and pulls out a sword and goes, "Get him outside. Walk him outside and run him through. You don't take our property." I mean, that's how every society has operated. And that's the feudal system that we're now going under in this country. That's what's happening to our society. And what the elites have done to the human race, all the strong, smart people they've killed out of domination. The truth is, eugenics is not trying to build up society. It's trying to wreck all that's good in us so these parasites can dominate us. I'm going to go to your phone calls. But it just makes my head spin, all the things that are happening. Oh, look, Magic Johnson still beating HIV 20 years later. Oh, but the average person gets it, and they put you on the drugs, and you're dead in about 3 years because the drugs are what kill you. HIV is a bioweapon, a race-specific bioweapon, very hard to kill Caucasians with it. But see, he got behind the whole HIV money-raising movement, and he even slipped up in interviews, remember, over a decade ago, and said, "Yeah, I've been given the cure." And boy, then they clamped down on him fast. "Yeah, I've been given the cure. I've been given the cure." And he sure was. But only because he kept his mouth shut. As for those hundreds of millions of Africans that have died from it or related to it, no, you're not going to get the cure. You're going to go in a hole in the ground. You got that? Death is what you get. Because it's trendy. Continuing here. Appeals court upholds Obama health care law. So unconstitutional, it'll make your head spin, but these courts are now bought and paid for. A conservative-leaning panel of federal appellate judges is upholding President Obama's health care law as constitutional, helping set up a Supreme Court fight. Oh, conservatives, because it was written by the insurance companies. It's a robbery of the public, but we'll call it liberal and trendy. You know, it's fun. Can't let the left and right wake up to the fact that it's a scam. So just, The U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia issued a split decision Tuesday upholding the law. The court agreed to dismiss a Christian legal group's lawsuit claiming the requirement that all Americans get health insurance is unconstitutional and violates religious freedom. What about having to finance abortion? Here in Travis County, only county in Texas, you got to pay for everybody's abortions. Here's one: new privacy fears as police could track your GPS without warrant. They're already doing it. Here it is, Supreme Court to hear GPS surveillance case. Or lower courts have ruled, yeah, there's no Fourth Amendment. Who needs that? We got banker occupation. We got cancer virus vaccines, fluoride water. We don't need freedom and everything it built. Get rid of that birthright and bring in some slavery. That's what we want. That's fun. And globalism's really done good for the country. Well, get ready for a lot more. This is just the beginning. It's kind of like falling off the edge of a cliff. You kind of bounce down. It's kind of a jagged, not straight down. You kind of bounce and then roll, and then kind of at the bottom there's a bigger drop. You drop, you go, oop, and you feel your leg break, and you're like, wow, that was really horrible. Until you realize you're actually rolling down towards a bigger cliff. And you're like, oh, that looks like about 500 feet. Well, I guess I'm about to die. We've just kind of been bouncing down the side here, and it's like, oh, look, there's a 500-foot drop. Boy, as bad as it is, blood coming out our faces and broken legs societally, we're about to fall off the big cliff. And the media's like, yay, yay. Ventura's bad because he didn't like people grabbing his genitals. He's a weirdo. Ah, yay, yay. People are like, grope our children. Yes, steal everything. We love paramilitary police at checkpoints. It's freedom. It makes us feel safe. Borders wide open. Here's another one. DHS official. You would never know if the streetlights were spying on you. Homeland Security deputy invokes Orwell's 1984. Because they actually said that. And see, now they're quoting it at you. That's right. We're doing it. We're breaking your will. Details surrounding the federally funded streetlights and doubled as omnipresent surveillance devices aren't getting any less creepy. A deputy Homeland Security director told Fox Charlotte, you will never know if Big Sis is watching. A quote that wouldn't look out of place in George Orwell's 1984. They actually say, you'll never know if Big Sis is watching. We're creepy. We're creepy. Take your shots. Eat your GMO. Brush with your fluoride, kiddies. Why is everybody getting cancer? Never mind that. Don't read all our official Homeland Security documents. Don't read the Rockefeller